Coming up on this edition of Quincy in Focus.
The Adamses offer us a new family portrait of early American religion.
John and Abigail Adams offer a glimpse into early American religion.
And it's a program to work with people who are going through cancer, their families, and their caregivers.
The YMCA holds its annual Taste of the South Shore.
You can have great companies, you can have great brands, but if you don't fit into the culture and the fabric of that company, you will not succeed.
And Dunkin' Brand CEO Dave Hoffman speaks at the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. These stories and more coming up on Quincy in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Quincy in Focus, Quincy Access TV's news magazine show. My name is Mandy Flaherty, and I'm a student at Quincy College interning at QATV. Leading off this edition, Mayor Thomas P. Koch has addressed the EPA's decision to sue the city of Quincy for releasing wastewater and untreated sewage into the Quincy Bay, among other waterways. Mayor Koch has stated that the city of Quincy has been in negotiations with the EPA for over a year, making efforts to correct these issues, and that the actions by the EPA are an overreach of federal government.
Quite frankly, I'm outraged by the action. We've been at the table for months with the U.S. Attorney's Office and folks from the EPA working on issues that affect the city, the waterways of the city, around the city. The city has spent tens of millions of dollars over the last decade in working to solve some of the challenges we face environmentally, and that program has continued. I'll go back to previous administrations, and millions were spent on both sewer and stormwater improvements across the city. So this city has not ignored this issue. In fact, quite frankly, we've been proactive on this issue right along. I will not, on behalf of the city of Quincy, sign a consent decree to commit tens and tens more millions of dollars going forward to some of these issues. I do not believe the EPA is being reasonable. I think it's a federal government overreach. We are a city, seventh largest city in Massachusetts, and we have some great colleagues in local government that control local issues. So it concerns me greatly that the U.S. Attorney has made this decision. It's interesting how they view we're not working fast enough when we've been for more than 4 years in a permitting process to try to replace tide gates at Blacks Creek, which is a very important component of flood control for a number of Quincy neighborhoods, and it would improve the health of the marsh. So I've asked my city attorney to look at that, to countersue the EPA, because the timing just doesn't seem to make sense to me. This isn't unique to Quincy, that there are a number of communities over the last several years that have been sued or signed consent decrees with the EPA. I've chosen not to do that for all the right reasons. I believe we've been doing the right thing for the environment in the city for a long time. And that's about not just the mayor of Quincy being Tom Koch, but all of my colleagues in government have been on the same page, working very hard on this issue for a long time. So I'm disappointed, and quite frankly, I'm angry.
We're all being faced with epic storms. And so one of the things that was pointed out today by the U.S. Attorney was that, during these storm events, that there was contamination as a result of the sewer systems, the older sewer systems, being overwhelmed. Well, that is new and different over the past 7 to 10 years. So the systems that were meant to address the weather patterns, 20 or 30 years ago are being overwhelmed here. But that is not because of the negligence of municipal and state officials. That's because of climate change. And so we have to recognize that there's a federal role here to help municipalities and help the states build resilience into their systems and upgrade their systems so that we can face these new superstorms that are impacting these communities.
At the annual Quincy Chamber of Commerce meeting, attendees comprised of local business and nonprofit representatives were addressed by keynote speaker, CEO, and president of Dunkin' Brands, Dave Hoffman. Mr. Hoffman spoke about Dunkin' Brands' proud associations with Quincy and the importance of looking to the future and moving with the markets.
This is our birthplace, and when Tim called, you can't deny coming back to your birthplace. So we get asked to do a lot, but when Quincy calls, we drop everything and come. And you always know that, and the mayor knows that as well. This is where we belong. This is our home. This is our heritage. And when we opened up in 2018 our Next Generation restaurant, it's where our heritage met our future. This was a place where still today in this industry, hard work, dedication, passion, commitment gets rewarded. And it still does today, and that's what's always driven me. For 25 years, I've been waking up at 5:30 a.m. looking at sales every day, sales and traffic. So, and I see a lot of people around here, a lot of other small business owners, if you don't love the hot breath of that scorecard, being a small business owner or in this business, this is the wrong business for you. Every day you get a scorecard on what your day was the previous day was for you. And you get that scorecard and it tells you what the customer just said about you, about your strategies, about your tactics, what they think of you. And that's really the lifeblood of being a franchisee and the lifeblood of being a small business owner. The world is changing, and we did a study about 2 or 3 years ago. And in that study it said, in today's world of changing customer demands, brands and companies that don't change will face a 3% innovation penalty. And so what that means is, no matter what you do, if you're a great brand, if in 2018 you delivered a $1 of sales and you did everything exactly the same, in 2019 your sales will be 97 cents. That's how quickly everything is changing in the world. Victor mentioned it, technology, right? Customer choice, changing needs, the Amazon effect. Everything is changing rapidly, and we have to be prepared to change with these times. As I've talked to many people, many young people, culture is everything today. You can have great companies, you can have great brands, but if you don't fit into the culture and the fabric of that company, you will not succeed. Character and DNA is really built for us on who we are over the 7 years as a brand. And I like to say, actions determine results, but it's your character that determines your destiny. But I'd say the other thing is kindness and making sure that you give back to the communities you serve. We're proud to operate in a community like Quincy. We're proud, we feel local. This is where we started. And today, it's so important that companies have shared value.
The City of Quincy will be installing new technology to busy intersections that will allow emergency vehicles to communicate more effectively with traffic lights and shave off valuable minutes in responding to emergencies. Jeff Wilson from Applied Information shared some of his new technology and applications with QATV.
Hi, my name is Jeff Wilson. I'm the Business Development Manager for Applied Information for the East Coast, and we're going to provide a demo ride with Tesla Model X and showcase the Applied Information preemption technology that gives emergency vehicles green lights, and also showcase our Travel Safely app, which allows the community, the citizens, to communicate to the intersections and get ready for green alerts and red light alerts along their intersections within Quincy. So our technology is a cellular-based technology. We utilize cellular and radio, so we can communicate to intersections at farther distances away, around curves, hills. So having this technology, we can shave about 10 to 12 seconds off a emergency run per intersection. Average emergency vehicles take about 6 intersections to get to a site. So that's about a minute of time that they shave, which statistically saves about 10,000 lives a year if you can get to a emergency location a minute faster. So Travel Safely is a free application to the community. What this does is it communicates to the infrastructure and provides information back to the motorists, the pedestrians, the cyclists, the emergency vehicles. As a company, we utilize cellular-based technology because there's a huge infrastructure already in place. 80% of the U.S. population has smartphones. So we utilize that infrastructure to connect vehicles to infrastructure.
Get ready for green.
You can see that my light will change with the signal. Now this alone improves your traffic network by 5-10% because of distracted drivers that aren't paying attention, either texting, whether they're at a stoplight or talking to their kids, not paying attention. So,
red light.
Based on my acceleration, my distance to the intersection, we can alert the motorist if they're not paying attention that they're approaching a red light.
So late 2017, we started looking at an adaptive traffic signal platform. As part of that process, we identified the vendor that we're now working with, Ocean State Signal, and the technology that we have, which is called SureTrack. As part of that process, we were made aware of the Applied Information suite of technology. AI was looking for a municipality to work with, to sort of plant their flag and to demonstrate the capabilities of their system. And we were in the process of making all these upgrades throughout our network. So it really was a good fit for us, especially when you consider that there are certain intersections in the city relative to emergency preemption that never before had had any preemption. So we were able to address some of the reasons why it didn't have it with this new technology and sort of bring it all together all at the same time. Say that one of the locations that we want to install this is a location that has never previously had it, which is Newport at Beale. We have every intention working with Quincy Fire Department to install this because we recognize the importance of that corridor to get to all of those different places that could be having an issue. And essentially what this would allow them to do is while they're in the driveway of the fire station, even though you can't see the signal from the fire station, you'd be able to preempt it from the driveway, give yourself a green corridor out where you need to be, and then as we build out the system, you know, for example, if the Wollaston Fire Station was responding to something east of Hancock Street, as we build this up, could give them a green corridor all the way out to Beach Street or whatever it is they're going. So the impacts of this really could be quite large as we build out the system more.
Recently, the South Shore YMCA hosted their annual Taste of the South Shore event at Lombardo's in Randolph. South Shore YMCA President and CEO Paul Gorman announced a new program called Stage Strong, which will focus on providing resources to families affected by cancer. Several restaurants came out in support of the cause to help raise funds, and supporters enjoyed local food and spirits while raising $383,000 to help build the program.
How's it been going? This was a wonderful crowd.
It was a great crowd. I think it's the most ever. We had well over 700 folks here and supporting the cause that we have for tonight. And that cause is called Stay Strong. And it's a program to work with people who are going through cancer, their families, and their caregivers to help support them through their journey through cancer. You know, we have such great medical facilities in the region, the hospitals, so the medical part is taken care of. But what happens after they go through treatment, or even during going through treatment, to support their families, to make sure kids can still be kids and participate in camp programs and other sports programs at the Y, And then also support programs for the caregivers who are family members a lot of times that are all, sometimes not thought of. They're always supporting the person with cancer. And so we have this wraparound program of a year's free membership, free babysitting for those parents who have kids when they have to go to doctor's appointments or go to a chemotherapy or radiation, they can drop them off at the Y. Free camp for those kids so they can be kids again, when they're wrapped up in this awful disease of cancer.
Help seniors as well.
Oh, absolutely. So we have support groups throughout the week, every single week for a whole year to work with them. And then we have some counseling, nutrition counseling. We have faith counseling if people want to reconnect with faith. And we have financial consulting because this could take a financial toll on a family as well.
This is great. We're very appreciative of the People's Choice Award. Everybody voted for us, and we're just extremely thrilled to be here. We're extremely thankful that we're part of this. This is extremely important work that we all need to do. We need to do this for the community. Everybody needs to come together. This is good food. Good food brings everyone together. So we're excited. We're super excited.
Hi, I'm Lauren DeLolio. I'm Vice President of Communications for the South Shore YMCA. We're here at the 23rd Annual Taste of the South Shore, and it's been an incredible event. We raised a lot of money. We're still waiting for that final count that we'll announce tomorrow. We're helping people all across the South Shore to live a stronger life, especially those who are dealing with cancer and a cancer diagnosis. So we want to thank all of these amazing chefs that came out. The food was incredible, the drinks were incredible, the crowd was incredible. I'd say this was our best year ever.
My name is Chrissy Shah. I am the Executive Director of the Quincy and Germantown Neighborhood Center for the South Shore YMCA. We're here at the Taste of the South Shore event, and it was a fantastic night with good food, good drinks, and most of all, good people. We were very successful with our fundraising. As Lauren said, we're waiting for our final count, but really the ability to introduce a program that has the ability to touch and affect so many lives, both for those that are cancer survivors going through cancer treatment or caregivers for those that are undergoing treatment.
The Quincy Symphony Orchestra hosted its first annual family concert, where families were invited to meet the musicians and play with instruments before the show. The concert included a piece by Mozart and a performance of Peter and the Wolf, read by QATV's very own Joe Catalano.
Welcome, welcome. We're thrilled you're here. This is our first annual family concert, and we're starting off with the music of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Can all the kids say that, please? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Recently, Lieutenant James Flaherty of the Quincy Police Department was promoted and was pinned at a ceremony held at City Hall.
Well, good morning and welcome, everybody. It's always a great thing to be seeing folks move up the ranks and get promoted. It's certainly one of the joys as mayor of the appointing authority to participate in. I know how hard our officers work, and I know the dedication it takes to study and to do what you need to do to move up those ranks. So I'm certainly delighted that we're here today, and certainly very happy for Jim Flaherty. You know, in addition to his time on the police department and his exemplary service, obviously he's been serving our nation as Lieutenant Commander Intelligence in the U.S. Navy. So I'm grateful as mayor of this great city, but also grateful for your service to our nation.
Jim's been a great sergeant for a lot of years. I know he's very well respected by his peers. I'd like to echo the mayor's sentiments and thank him for his service for the last year. He's serving our country proudly. He did a tremendous job, I'm sure, in the military. He's always done a tremendous job for the Quincy Police Department, and we look forward to having him join our management team. It's always a good day when we get new and fresh ideas and fresh blood moving up through the ranks of the Quincy Police Department, because with each promotion they bring new perspective, new ideas, and a new vision for the Quincy Police Department. So, Jim, congratulations to you, your family. I know what a sacrifice it is to study. We all do. Anyone that's ever made rank knows the time and the effort that you have to put in. And today, it's paid off. Congratulations. And I know you're going to keep marching forward. Thanks, Jim.
I,
James Flaherty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Commonwealth of
to
Massachusetts
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and will support the Constitution thereof.
and will support the Constitution thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I,
James Flaherty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm
and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a lieutenant in the Quincy Police Department,
as a lieutenant on the Quincy Police Department,
according to the best of my abilities
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
and
agreeably
agreeably
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of this Commonwealth
and the laws of this Commonwealth
and the ordinances of the City of Quincy.
and the ordinances of the City of Quincy.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I
James Flaherty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Good job.
The Church of the Presidents and the Quincy Historical Society recently hosted a talk by author Sarah Giorgini on her book, Household Gods, The Religious Lives of the Addams Family. In her talk, Ms. Giorgini spoke about her extensive research of the Quincy natives, John and Abigail Addams, their family, and took questions from audience members.
It's wonderful to see so many familiar and wonderful, friendly faces here at the Church of the Presidents in Quincy, where the Addamses' epic adventures took root so many centuries ago. I'm deeply grateful to this incredible community for preserving their story and for sharing it every day. Today, I'd like to reintroduce you to a remarkable local family, the Addamses, and the many gods they met. We'll see how their religious journeys transformed what they did for the nation. We'll walk alongside the experiences and ideas that they encountered. Now, the Addamses lived at the heart of political power for over a century. Their archive spills over with love letters, state secrets, and everything in between. By reading their diaries and correspondence, we can listen in on the soundtrack of nation building. A revolution becomes a republic, colonists become citizens, and a civil war looms closer. So what kind of religion did an American family like the Addamses use to make sense of it all and to guide those big changes? Why did John and Abigail Addams turn to Providence for answers? How did they use art and literature to refuel their faith in politically divisive times? My book, Household Gods, looks at this very famous first family and asks, what did they think religion was good for? The story of Household Gods travels across centuries of public service, from the Puritans to the progressives. United across the generations in exploration, the Addamses offer us a new family portrait of early American religion. They were Christian, cosmopolitan, curious, and famous for it. Interested in theology but rarely invested in it, the globe-trotting Addamses considered religion a necessary tool to interpret change and to understand other cultures. They threaded letters with scripture. They scooped up sermon volumes at auction. They toured cathedrals and took notes on old world practice. One after another, the Addams statesmen and their wives, women who were all political agents in their own right, relied on religion, foreign and familiar, to decode the many worlds that they moved through. First Lady Abigail Addams, ever eloquent, neatly summed up the early family's outlook when she wrote, "There is nothing binding upon the humane mind but religion." So before we dig in, let me tell you why I took on a 300-year history of the New England family and worked on it for a decade. Fortunately, we have the archives for it, and the exquisitely maintained Addams National Historical Park and this beautiful church to visit for research. And we are, after all, always curious to know how our ancestors lived, worked, played, and in this case, prayed. What I quickly learned after a few months of research at the Massachusetts Historical Society, to my delight, was that the Addamses prayed and told. At home and abroad, as we've just seen with John and Abigail, the Addamses' religion evolved as the new nation grew. The Addamses served as founders of a nation, yes, and they also acted as lifelong seekers of religion. Household Gods tells their story.
That's all for this edition of Quincy in Focus. On our next episode, we will highlight the annual Saving by Shaving event at Granite Telecommunications, and we'll also feature the City of Quincy's annual Cleaner, Greener Quincy Day. If you'd like more information about Quincy Access Television or are interested in becoming a member, visit our website at qatv.org or call 617-376-1440. My name is Mandy Flaherty, and thanks for watching this edition of Quincy in Focus.